Hello, and welcome into another episode of Fractured Not Broken, the Relationship Wellness Podcast. It is your guy, Coach Reg, and I am super excited to be back with you yet again for another episode where I hope really helps you be better, because one of the goals of the pod is to transform how we show up and present in relationships that matter most. My name is Reginald D. Smith. I am a professional relationship coach, expert, author, and host of this phenomenal podcast. And hey, listen, if you are a person who is interested in being a guest or would like to be a guest, please get out to Linktree and learn and see the podcast guest request form, complete that, and we can see if we can make it happen, virtual or in person. Excited to share with you in this forum, have people here, as you've seen in previous pods. We have guests in studio. We've done remote guests. We've had remote guests as well. And excited for either way that we can make it happen if it makes sense and it believes that it aligns with the goals and the goals of our brand. So, yeah, excited for those opportunities to have you, those of you who have expressed interest, those of you who already are scheduled to be on, excited to have those episodes when they happen. Wow. Man, there's a few things I want to share with you. We have a lot of good stuff going on. As you know, we coach, right? And we coach romantic, non-romantic, and professional relationships, workplace relationships. And so we are starting to transition and move into that space as well. Actually, we've already done so, and that's been exciting. We've also begun work on the second book. As you know, Love, Relationships, and Sometimes Just Letting Go has done well, but we are now doing another project, which will be a resource guide for corporate professionals, persons who are in governmental agencies who want to be better in the workplace, right? Improving workplace relationships. So excited for all of the good things that are coming. Excited to have you here with me today, quite frankly. Every time we get to share, it's exciting. And I'm excited to have or share this topic with you. Kind of came by the... It's interesting how these topics show up, folks. I got to tell you, because I never know. It could be a phone call. It can be a conversation. It could be something I read. I'm like, oh, my God, this may help the F&B family. And I think this is one of those topics. And you've heard me say things in the past like being smarter than the moment, right, and what that means. And I'll get into that in a second. But before I do that, I want to encourage you to, if you get this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get it, please be sure to rate and review it. We want to share, we want to grow, we want to expose this content to as many people as can. And if you are willing to help us do that and support us, we greatly appreciate it. If you're someone who consumes the podcast on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're someone who would like to know more about coaching, and if I could help you navigate your challenge or the obstacle or whatever the thing is you're facing, be it, again, romantic, non-romantic, or professional, please get out to our Linktree, use a discovery call, book a discovery call, and we can have we'll have a brief conversation to understand what your challenge is. So I can understand what your challenge is. I can also share if I can support you in that challenge, and if we're a fit for each other. Right? So it's non-committal, no obligation. It's a conversation. And if from that conversation, if we decide to work together, fantastic. If from that conversation we don't, fantastic. I simply want to support those who want and desire support. Now, let's get into this one. This is going to be in the romantic genre, right? This conversation, this discussion, because I mentioned it a few moments ago, being smarter than the moment. And I'm going to share two examples in the course of this episode to illustrate that. And it's really an encouragement, an exhortation, not an admonishment. My goal as a coach is that you're thinking, not what I think. Let's be very clear. Not what I think. I just want you thinking, because if you're thinking, that means you're winning or you have a chance at it. Right? And so how we think about things, perspective is so important, because remember, our habits don't always serve us. And this is why we have some of the challenges we do in relationships, regardless of type. But this particular challenge comes as a result of someone saying, hey, I just met someone and we've been seeing each other for almost 90 days. And it's been great. Every day has been phenomenal. Each day better than the last. And wow, I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. But then when the phone call comes or the conversation occurs, the person is frustrated to the end where they were ready to throw it all away. And the reason was because of hurt feelings, and nothing had been, no question, no conversation around what was noticed. It was more like, I'm going to speak to what I'm seeing, right? I'm going to make an assumption because I don't want to get hurt. And I like this person, and let me play defensive and let me protect myself and let me say, I'm going to tell this person something. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. How does this one experience negate everything that you've learned up until this point? I just want to understand, because if everything has been good and now you're seeing something that you don't understand and you had not experienced, this is why it's important, folks, to take time to really learn, study, and data gather. And if you see behavior that is inconsistent with what you have been shown, it's an opportunity to ask a question about the behavior, not get the person told. Let me let you know. That goes into AAAs. What do we talk about in relationships? Don't call AAA. Don't attack, don't accuse, don't assume. If you bring that energy to that person, it can be new, but they're likely not going to respond well to it, even if they like you a little bit, because you're making your statements suggest that the thing that you noticed was intentional, deliberate, or even known, and they may not have even realized it for whatever the reason. And so my encouragement, folks, is that when you are getting to know someone, and this even goes for persons that you've known for a period of time, when you see behavior that you don't understand, ask a question about what you're noticing. Introduce your question in the frame of what you're noticing, not what this person, you did that, you meant to do that. What is this about? What's wrong with you? None of those are going to go well for you if you introduce the conversation that way. Because here's why, folks. A person, I don't know, and if you are, okay, good on you, but I'm not a mind reader. And I'd rather just ask. See, because I pay attention, I strive to pay attention to what you show me. And if what you show me I don't understand, then I'm going to ask a question. Here's why. Because we tend to conflate. We tend to see a thing as humans. We tend to see a thing and immediately go to what we think and or feel about the thing we saw, even when we don't understand it. Why do we do that? Or what makes us do that? What makes us do that? Is it because consciously or subconsciously, we truly go into protect mode? We see something that could be familiar and we're like, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, I've seen this before. That's the problem. You've seen this before, but that doesn't mean that what you're seeing is what you saw. And what we do is we said, oh, looks like a duck. I've seen this before. Must be a duck. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. And if it is, that's fine. That's the confirmation. But my question or my ask of you is to not let the assumption drive your action, drive your comments, drive your words. Because if it does, it's likely not going to go well. So this person who reached out to me said that, hey, I'm going to let him know X, Y, and Z. And I asked her a simple question. Is there a reason you don't want to ask him? Did he notice? I sent you messages or whatever you did that he didn't respond to in a way that you felt he should or thought. It's two different things. It's not that people need to respond the way that we think they should. It's how did the person respond? And that's what you respond to. Folks, we speak about EQ all the time. Okay. And if you don't know what EQ is, emotional intelligence, watch previous episodes. It comes up all the time. In EQ, we've grown. Okay, we've been at this for a little bit now, so we're not going to go through the attributes of EQ again. Check out previous episodes. We're well past that. We are beyond the identification of the attribute that's happening in the experience. Now we're to the point where it's okay. What do I do when I identify, recognize the attribute that's happening? If it's with me, if it's with someone else, whatever, right? What do I do? The idea, folks, is to think. The idea is to ask yourself a question. Okay, what do I want to say? And once you answer that question for yourself, the second question should be, is this thing that I want to say productive, constructive, or helpful? And then the third thing is to be honest with yourself about those answers before you even begin to have a conversation with the person that you want to have a conversation with. Why is this important? Because we talk about safe space. We talk about being better. We talk about allowing what we see to inform how we respond, how we ask our next question, or if we say nothing. But if you're noticing something, a behavior or an action that has caused you to question some things about whatever you were building or establishing or what you thought you knew about the person, then what I am saying to you folks is that it is an opportunity to ask a question, framing it around what you're noticing, rather than attacking, accusing, or assuming that this person meant to do the thing that has caused you to question or wonder what you're seeing. I can almost guarantee that if you ask a question rather than making a statement, and when I say ask the question, folks, I mean in a respectful way. Hey, listen, I noticed you did this. I noticed your response was that. I noticed that act was this. I'm not sure what was important to you, or what was, I'm not sure what I'm saying. I may not even be sure what to ask you, but I'm just asking because I'm not sure, because what I saw gave me pause. What I saw offended me. What I saw hurt my feelings. Whatever that thing that you saw did, whatever the cause and reaction was, whatever your reaction to the thing was, it was. But that's what you're asking, because you're not saying, I really don't know. And you're showing vulnerability, you're showing concern, and actually compassion. And what you're paying attention to, or at least I hope you are, is if this person is receptive to your ask. Because again, in getting to know, even with someone that you've known, you're still gathering data. Because the relationship, be it new or existing, is ever evolving. Why? Because humans are. And if they're not, that's okay. But that's also for you to pay attention to and then ask yourself some questions around it. But that's not the point of this. The point of it is, regardless if you are a new relationship, or not even a relationship, you're dating and data gathering, or you are established, the same thing applies. When you see things, hear things that you don't understand, that give you pause, it's an opportunity to say, hey, not sure what I'm seeing. Can you build me a bridge? Can you clear this up for me? Would you please share what you were thinking or what your thoughts were when you made this choice? The person may actually appreciate your being asked the question, rather than being told that whatever they said or did was intentional. It was malicious. You meant to do it. Why do we bruise, damage, and hurt each other so much? Could it be that we ourselves are bruised, damaged, and hurt? And so much so that we are lashing out, even with people that we said 2 seconds ago we liked, and then 2 seconds later they do something we don't, and all of a sudden I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Hear me, folks. I told you the topic. I told you the title. Let's be smarter than the moment. Because the way that you feel about it, the way that you think about it, could change. Especially if the thing that happened has caused you to elevate emotionally, where you are angry, where you're excited, whichever the emotion. Please understand, it's not about just anger. It can be something that you're excited about as well. you want to have conversations, you want to make decisions, you want to do whatever thing you're going to do from a place of peace and clarity. And when we see something that we don't understand, and hear me, folks, hear me, I'm not saying it's easy. I know it's not. The challenge is to be better, to resist the temptation and inclination to do what you've done, particularly if what you've been doing isn't working, if what you've been doing is not yielding the results, if what you're doing or been doing is not creating, supporting a more harmonious and cohesive and collaborative relationship space. How do we resolve things? How do I feel about this? How do you respond when you are offended or feel offended? How do you make me aware that I've offended you without telling me I meant to do it? How do I make you aware without telling you meant to do it? Do you know how you do that, folks? You introduce conversations. You follow the model, DECIDE. The acronym, you remember, in love relationships? Define and discuss. Communicate. Introduce or initiate, which simply means I'm going to introduce this thing in the form of a question because I want to understand. I'm not going to introduce the thing in the form of an attack, an assumption, or an accusation. What am I saying to you? We get to choose. We all get to choose. And if we choose to be better, then part of being better is saying, how can I do this differently or different, especially if the thing I was doing isn't getting me results, especially if the thing I'm doing it feels or seems like my person is retreating, withdrawing, or doesn't even want to be bothered. Listen, folks, create agreements. Talk about how, if you're getting to know someone, and even if you're existing, if you're still there, that suggests you want to be. And if you're choosing to be there because it's all a choice, then how about choose to create better habits that serve and support the relationship that you've been in and that you want to remain in, or the one that you're just starting out on, brand new journey. When you see things, it's not, oh my God, I can't believe this. It's like, no, let's see how we can be better. Let's see if we want to be. Let's see if this person is interested in what I'm interested in terms of let's be respectful as we work through this, as we talk through this, as we seek to understand each other. Let's do that respectfully. Let's do that in a caring way. It's easy when it's new. It's when the novelty wears off, when the work really starts. But guess what? If you're bruised, damaged, and hurt, and you see something and you're triggered, it doesn't matter how new it is, because you're the common denominator. And your response could be the responses that you would typically deliver. What I'm asking you is to think about that delivery. And in lieu of making a statement, please consider framing a question around the thing that you don't understand, that you're not clear about. That's a thought. Again, it's a way to be better, and to certainly be smarter than the moment, because that moment's going to pass. And how you handle it, how that person handles it, is more data. This is not a one-time, now I'm going to throw it all away, and every day up until 88 days were great, and then the 89th day was like, what am I seeing? And what you're seeing is not anything that contradicts everything that you had been shown. It's just this thing, you're not sure what you're seeing. And instead of thinking it's all bad, it could simply be that the person that you're questioning, or the action you're questioning, the person may not have even been aware of it. We don't know. That's why we learn. That's why we ask questions and we listen and allow what we hear to inform how we respond, react, and or ask the next question. Does that make sense? My gosh, I hope it does. So yeah, again, folks, the idea is to be smarter than the moment, right? To create, to use opportunities that you don't understand use those as opportunities to ask questions. Things that you see, things that you see that you don't understand, things that you question, things that you're like, what am I saying? It's an opportunity to ask a question. Please resist and refrain as best you can from making a statement about what you're seeing. Ask a question. Ask a question. Give the person an opportunity to respond. See if it matters to them how they respond. Listen to learn if they are considering you in their response. Listen to learn if they hadn't considered you at all. And either one is okay, because it's more information, because they're not considering you. And if they told you that, may not have even been malicious. It could have just been that they haven't been accustomed to considering anyone, because maybe you're new to them too. They haven't been, this is all new. This is why it's a learning experience. Extend each other grace in the form of asking questions to seek to understand the thing that you don't. Okay? Listen, I'm going to get out of here, but you know how to reach me. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to comment if you have questions. You can totally reach out. And hope this content is landing with you and you understand the purity of purpose and the intention behind it, that it is to help us be better in the relationships that matter most. And it doesn't matter the type. Because again, beyond understanding or knowing what emotional intelligence is, beyond the identification of the attribute that may be in play, we've now evolved and grown to a place, at least I hope so, where you are now more aware of how you respond, and that you choose to exercise your choice to pause, to collect yourself if necessary, and decide or choose if you want to respond or if a response is required, because it may not be. Part of being smarter than the moment says that you pause, understand what you're feeling, understand what you're thinking, get real clear on where you are before you even speak. Because what we don't want to do, folks, is we don't want to say and or do something in the heat of an experience that sorry can't fix, that you can't recover from. I don't want that for you, right? We can't control others. That's not the point. We're not trying to control anything. But what we are trying to do is be more mindful of how we respond, how we react, and what we do, right? And through your example, encourage your person or pay attention to learn if they are equally aware and considerate of the space that you two are striving to build together. Listen, I hope it makes some sense. Again, it's your guy, Coach Reg, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take good care.